YouTube. This video today, you guys saw the title, I'm gonna be discussing Southeast Asia and my experience in South Asia. Wow, it's a long, complicated story to explain. My mom, she used to live in United Arab Emirates. She moved there around 2013. You can cue a picture here. And my mom, at the time when she moved to UAE, that was actually the first country I'd ever been to. I think I talked about it in one of my other videos beforehand, that was a really crazy experience going to UAE. And then within that first summer, that's how I got to Southeast Asia, because my mom was like, okay, you know, we're gonna go ahead and take a crazy trip, you know, to Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines. We went to we also went to Hong Kong, we went to Philippines, we went to Singapore and Malaysia. So that trip was like 7 countries. That blew my mind. Coming from 0 countries to 8 countries in a matter of weeks was so freaking crazy to me. But I don't even necessarily remember the exact order of how we traveled, but I just remember, I think we ended up in Philippines no, it was Hong Kong first, but we're talking about Southeast Asia. But then after Hong Kong, we went to Philippines. Or no, we went to Thailand right after Hong Kong. Sorry, I can't get the order correctly. It's been so many years. It's been since I was a teenager, so it was so long ago. You know, since 10, 12 years ago, but still, you know, you get the... But anyway, yeah, I went to Thailand and specifically Phuket. And Phuket, for those that don't know Phuket, it's not primarily American tourists that's there. So what you have there is you primarily have your Russians, you have your German speakers, and quite honestly, real talk, they kind of create just like a weird type of energy because none of them want to speak English. I know this is gonna sound like a kind of a cocky American thing to say, but it's kind of the truth. In most places that I've been to, people will speak, and they don't even try to attempt to speak English at all or really anything, you know. And that's kind of a story for another time. Germans for me are kind of iffy, depends on what German I'm talking to, but Russians for the most part, I'm sorry, all Russians that I have ever met, well, there's been like 1 or 2 Russians that I've met that actually have been semi-cool, but most Russians that I have ever met, they're not really cool. They're very aggressive people. They'll push people out the way. Even with Russian people, for the longest time, I was like, oh, okay, I thought it was like a thing because you know, of course, like me being black, I thought it was like some racist type of shit. But I figure it was just how Russian people kind of act in some sort of way. I don't have like any cultural level analysis to really understand what's behind the whole mechanisms, why Russian people act that type of way. But anyways, a whole bunch of Russians and Germans in Phuket. So when I was there, my mom and I, we and our friend of the family stayed on this resort. It was okay, but it didn't really give me the true travel experience. Honestly, from my POV, I felt like Phuket was one of those resort places that a lot of older people go. You know what I'm talking about? Like the older white dudes, / like some, you'll see older European dudes there too as well. You know, it'll just be kind of like a little nuts, right? In Phuket. Phuket, all in all, it's kind of boring. I'm not gonna even lie. Most of the time I was there, it rained. And to be fair, when you go to Thailand during the summertime or anywhere in Southeast Asia, it rains a lot. That's a part that you need to know when you're going there too. So just be aware of when you're going to Southeast Asia, right? But just kind of just with my whole story with like just Southeast Asia, I mean, like long story short, like I traveled to a whole bunch of countries. I'll probably talk about it in another video specifically regarding Southeast Asia. Like in regards to just my experience being in Southeast Asia. I know this video is like about Southeast Asia, but this video is just more so what I would recommend in Southeast Asia, or what to be aware of when you're in Southeast Asia. But this video is more of a video of things to be aware of in Southeast Asia. So let's get on with it. Number 1, say taxi driver. Taxi drivers, as soon as you get off the airport, there's gonna be a million taxi drivers waiting for you outside of the airport. So the smartest thing to do would be to talk to someone in the airport, ideally someone at the money exchange place, to try to see if they could to see if they would know where you can get a taxi, or where you can specifically call a taxi instead of going outside and getting one of the taxi drivers or just waiting for a taxi. That's just not a good look right there. Yeah, it's just a whole bunch of just bargaining. You have to bargain with them, and they're probably not going to give you the best price. They're going to give you more than likely a foreign price. That's how you say foreigner in Thai. And it's just not going to be really that much of a great experience. You're going there. I mean, I know Thailand is a relatively cheap place, but if you can find ways to save your money, I find my ways to save my money in the best ways as possible, really, to be quite honest. I wouldn't worry about spending my money and all these stuff. So yeah, just be very diligent with the taxi drivers. And this kind of gets me to my second point. So this gets me to my second thing to be aware of. Tuk-tuk taxi. Tuk-tuk drivers are relatively cheap. I would say I would utilize them as much as possible in specific use. Don't go necessarily too crazy where you're like, okay, I want to get a tuk-tuk driver to go from the airport to go to my hotel. More than likely you're going to be kind of tired. So I would say in that scenario to probably just go ahead and just call a taxi, or even if you would get scammed from it a little bit, it's kind of worth it, more or less. So I would just run that. Number 3, I would be aware of just lady boys and prostitutes in general, because Southeast Asia is known for having that type of demographic, unfortunately. I don't know why, specifically in regards to ladyboys, why Southeast Asia is known for having such a high capita of ladyboys, but the stereotype definitely is true about Southeast Asia. I remember me being a 14-year-old boy, me going to Phuket for the first time, and I remember this one, my mom and I were walking past this stop, and a friend of the family were also walking past the shop, and this lady boy, it was like a massage parlor, and that's also another thing to be aware of. This massage parlor we were walking past, and this one masseuse was yelling, yeah, chocolate man, hey, stop, and I'm like, whoa, I was just like shook, a 14-year-old kid hearing all this stuff, and I'm like, whoa, and then my mom, of course, she's getting defensive. She's like, oh yeah, no thank you, he's not interested. And yeah, but that's definitely something to be diligent for. I mean, or unless you're into that type of lifestyle. But yeah, Southeast Asia is definitely full of a lot of adventures, tricks if you want to get involved with some of this stuff. Yeah, but I say be aware of it, but be aware of all the things that could possibly happen, but don't necessarily use this as motivation for you to not go. I think that Southeast Asia is definitely one of those places that's beginner-ish friendly. It's not like in India. So yeah, I would recommend going. So go to Southeast Asia. In another video, I'm probably gonna go ahead and have maybe more of a detailed video of my experience and a little bit more of a background about Southeast Asia. But that's it for the video for the day, guys. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video.